Hey everybody, I just want to give y'all a public service announcement that other people will not other people will not protect you from all of the evils in the world. You have to defend yourself. And if you're here on my channel, then you already know what it means to be subjected to abuse and to be picked on and gaslighted, and how other people tend to just kind of sort of back away slowly, and nobody wants to get involved. Nobody wants to step in and save you. Nobody wants to step into somebody else's conflict. People just say, wow, that sounds a lot like not my business, right? Nobody wants to step in unless it's online where they're behind the safety of their own phone, right? Well, then we're all, two-thumb badasses, right? But when it comes to saving you, protecting you, defending you, that's your job. That is your job, to look after yourself, protect yourself, motivate yourself, and live your life. I took my wife to the shooting range 3 days ago. This is on the heels of the mass shooting in El Paso. It was politically and racially motivated. The guy drove 10 hours to the El Paso border with a rifle and basically was upset about Mexicans wanting to live here and started shooting Mexicans. He was just driving around. Once he was there, just driving around, stopped at Walmart to, I guess, get something to eat, I think, and then he was like, well, this is fine, and just opened fire. Now, and I want to point something out, because I think this is a very excellent parallel to narcissism, and it's like a dramatic real-life play out of narcissistic ideology. Because this mass shooter, if you haven't looked at a picture of the El Paso shooter, look up his picture. Motherfucker looks like McLovin from Superbad. Like, that's who he looks like. Fogel. He's just a skinny white kid with a dopey haircut, dopey glasses. Not that there's anything wrong with that appearance in particular. I'm just saying, dude looks like McLovin, right? The guy is such a coward. He was such a coward. He was wearing hearing protection while he was doing this, right? So if you think about this a second, here he is. He's gonna be Captain Badass and save the world and whatever his mindset was. Oh, wait, must remember my hearing protectors and my retainer because I want my teeth to stay straight. And in his manifesto, he talked about how he imagined that he wouldn't be captured alive, that he would, be gunned down or whatever. But what happened? Well, in the end, he did not possess the Constitution to take his own life because he was a coward. And when the police showed up and he had guns pointed at him, lots of them, he decided, you know what? I really don't want to be on the receiving end of all of this. I guess because he had just recently observed what happens on the opposite end of a gun. And then decided, I don't want this to happen to me. So he surrendered, and so he gave up. So what do you have? You have somebody who is so convinced that their ideology is correct, that they are right, and that they really just don't care what happens to other people. They only care about what happens to themselves. And the thing is, all of it is fueled by weakness and fear and ignorance. So, that is exactly the depiction of how narcissism works. You have this driving fear, this underlying fear. You're not that great of a person. You find a way to hide it and fake it. You create this alternate reality and this idea of how things are, how they should be, and how you're going to do it. And it just does not align with reality. Now, there is something to be said about the state of things and how one person can go into a very large store filled with a lot of people, one person, one assailant, and cause massive damage, and still walk out alive and be captured alive while everybody else picks up the pieces. And this is the point I want to make. Okay? People were not ready for that. They weren't expecting that. When you're ready for something, you can handle it. When you're not ready for something, you can't handle it. The Walmart in El Paso wasn't ready for him that day. However, several days later, there was a Walmart who was sure as hell ready for somebody like that. Because several days after it happened, this dude, I guess he was trying to, he said it was a social experiment, but some dude showed up at a Walmart wearing body armor, carrying an AR-15 or an AK-47, a big scary gun, right? Started walking up into the Walmart. Somebody drew a gun on him and laid his ass out right there on the spot. It was an off-duty fireman who happened to be carrying his piece because of what happened at the Walmart in El Paso. And this dude got neutralized right there on the spot in the parking lot. There was also an ISIS attack here on American soil. ISIS attacked us several years ago in Garland, Texas. And we don't hear about that a whole lot because these guys got out, they swore allegiance to ISIS, they had big scary guns, and they got shot and killed at the curb before they were able to go in and harm anybody. The only person that got harmed was the off-duty police officer who shot and killed them. He was ready, and he happened to be in the right place at the right time. But this is a very important question that I want to put on this, and this doesn't have to do anything with narcissism. Well, it kind of does, but it has to do with you as a person and your life, and something that you should definitely value. If you love your life, and you want your life, think about this. What is your plan? What is your plan whenever an active shooter shows up, somebody with a gun shows up? What is your plan when you're in the parking lot with a shopping cart full of groceries and your children and your phone and your bills and your mind all, swarming with all the details of parenting, adulting, and all that shit? What is your plan? What is your plan? And not just for a mass shooter, but for any other kind of threat. Like if it's record heat temperatures right now. If you break down on the side of the road and you have your kids with you and it's 100 degrees, and all of a sudden you lose your air conditioner, what is your plan? And do you have enough ice water there? Like, is your spare tire aired up? What is your plan? If you don't have one, then it is your responsibility to create one. Because when you do not have a plan, when you fail to have a plan set aside, meditated upon, practiced, and executed, when you fail to have a plan, it is not the responsibility of somebody else to come in and help. Now, we have good Samaritans, mind you. I'm not saying that nobody will help you. We have helpful people, good Samaritans. But people meaning well, doing well, and then actually being able to do well because you've planned and prepared and thought about it, those are all completely different things. And we all know what happens whenever you're subjected in a relationship that is so unbelievably toxic that people just don't believe you. They don't believe you because it is unbelievable. There is a certain threshold of evil, and remember this, there's a certain threshold of evil behavior where it becomes so unbelievable that people reject its existence, the concept of its existence. They say, no. I mean, what's more likely, the fact that something so evil can actually happen, or maybe you're off your rocker? Have you taken your meds? And, mental health awareness 2019, I think you need to go see somebody, because certainly there's no way anybody could be that evil. But it's there. So you can see this And this is what I want to bring you around to and point you towards. The ongoing reactions in El Paso to the El Paso shooting, right? These are the communities who are really affected. These are not the people who are just reading. And this is what I want to highlight to you. Two distinct groups of people reacting to mass shootings. There's the people who were the targets, the community who actually felt it, the people this happened to. And then there's the reactions of people who were not there, who are reading. These are two very, very different responses, and I want to bring these up. The people who are reading have a fear-driven response. They read this, and overwhelmingly, they're piled on one side or the other of the gun control debate. This happens every single time where the nation divides itself. So anytime there's a mass shooting, we all sort of know the choreography now. It's like, we're all sitting there on social media talking about our random stuff, and then a mass shooting happens, and we're like, oh, okay, you know what? We'll finish this conversation later. I got to go to my side, you go to your side, and then we'll get our dodgeballs, and it sort of just turns into this ideological dodgeball between the left and the right. You look at how the communities in El Paso are reacting and responding. You don't see this in the news. You don't hear this in the news unless you know what to look for. What they're doing, you want to know what's happened in El Paso? Record-breaking numbers of gun sales to the Hispanic community. Hispanics are buying guns in record numbers. All of the concealed handgun license courses in El Paso were booked to capacity the following week or 2 weeks after the shooting. There's no vacancy in any of the self-defense classes, the gun violence classes, the concealed carry classes. Mexicans are buying as many guns as they can afford. Why? Because we are now being shot. And the irony of this is the Second Amendment, the part of the Constitution that people are calling into question, that is saying that, we don't need this, that it's antiquated and all of these things. The Second Amendment is the same amendment that is empowering the Hispanic community to take responsibility for their safety, for their own defense, and defend themselves against any threat, foreign or domestic, which would include a white guy that drove 10 hours away with a high-powered rifle. And they're doing this quietly. Nobody's drawing attention to it. And you should definitely read some of the interviews with these people, or watch them on video. They're interviewing people in gun stores, Hispanics, asking them, why are you doing this? And they're like, well, truth be told, I don't want to be here. This is a day that I never thought would come, but now it's here, and I need to have a plan. A lot of these people were in that Walmart, and they, that's the eye opener for them. They didn't ask for this, and it's not just talk. Like, people are getting shot now, and so what's their response? Well, they're taking their safety into their own hands, and they're buying up guns. They're taking responsibility for their safety, for their defense. And that is a really, really powerful lesson that needs to be translated into all areas of life. I know not everybody's going to agree with the viewpoint on guns. That's not the point of this. The point is that you're going to have, in any conflict, whenever your well-being is jeopardized, there's the people who are in it, and then there's the people who are observing. And you have the people who respond with fear and the people who respond with personal responsibility. And you need to be on the side that responds with personal responsibility. You need to be on your side, and you need to have a plan. If you don't have a plan, it's not somebody else's responsibility to save you. It's their responsibility to save themselves first and help you as much as they can while keeping themselves safe. Thank you very much. Please like, comment, or share, and I'll see you on the next video.